Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Welcome back to Champion Week. My name is Dallas Hansen. You're listening to the Swim Lessons podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe to our channel here right at Swim Lessons. It doesn't take long. It takes like 5 seconds. So just hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. But I screwed up before this podcast. I have to say, my first time ever screwing up in the world. Write this down. I forgot to press record on Dean's camera. So if you're watching online, you'll see the big screw up. If you're listening to this, you won't see it, but we just have the wide angle and then my angle. I was so happy to see my guy Dean that I forgot to do that. So my apologies to everybody watching on YouTube. But if you're wondering why Dean's angle isn't on there, that's why. It sucks. I can't believe I forgot that. It's first time in 110 episodes I forgot it, but it happens. But I appreciate Dean Winczewski coming on the podcast today. I say this to him at the end of the interview. I said, you know, Dean, if everybody got to know you like I've got to know you over the last 2 years, you'd be probably the favorite in all of coaching in North Dakota because the person you see behind the clipboard when you get to meet these people like I do, there's more to him. There's a human being, a very good person, and when you see him on the court, you see this emotional, really wants to win guy, loud. And I love watching it, but not everybody does. But the guy wins, no matter where he's won state championships for Dickinson, comes to Minot, wins multiple state championships. So I really appreciate Dean, and I love the guy, and I wish him and the Minot High team the best for the WDA tournament. But before we get to Dean, we got to thank Planet Pizza. They allowed me to come in and film these episodes here, so appreciate Tony Mueller and his family opening the doors to Swim Lessons to come in here and film and use his facility. So make sure you check out Planet Pizza, best pizza in North Dakota, hands down. After this, I'm going actually to grab a few slices for me and the girlfriend's family, so cannot wait to eat that. So make sure you check out Planet Pizza here in Minot, North Dakota. They've also got the arcade here for the kids in Planet Pizza, and also March Madness is coming up. Where do you want to watch the games at? Well, I know. It's called Sports on Tap, so make sure you check out Sports on Tap as well. But now, to our sponsors, PSP Network. It's game day, baby. They've been promoting local student athletes for a very long time. Right now, they're in the heart of tournament season. So make sure you check out PSP Network. Whether you're a hockey fan or basketball fan, PSP has you covered. Go to www.psp.network. On there, you'll see the PSP Plus sign, and you click on that and it'll give you a schedule and what you can buy with this PSP Plus. It's fantastic. It's huge. It's great. I love it. PSP Network. So I'm going to be doing a few games for PSP Network. We've got this big plan for the WDA of some on-court stuff with me. It's going to be great. The only way you are going to be able to see that is if you buy this PSP Plus package. So make sure you do that. And also check them out on YouTube at PSP Network. But I greatly appreciate Nick Holberg and the crew bringing me on for this big tournament. It's the WDA. It doesn't get any bigger than this. And the State B. I'm going to get to do my first state championship game with the State B championship, so I'm excited for that. But it's all because of PSP Network, so thank you, Nick, and make sure you check out that PSP Plus. Next up is River's Edge Bar and Grill in Williston, North Dakota. They're known for offering the best happy hour in town, providing unbeatable deals in a lively atmosphere. Guests can also enjoy a variety of entertaining activities, including bingo, trivia, and the very popular Name That Tune. Come on down to River's Edge for great drinks, great food, and great fun. And then it's Glosso Angus, a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, the podcast. They're your premier source for registered Black Angus cattle since 1973. Glosso Angus cattle showcase dominance, durability, and docility, and they're built to thrive on the northern plains. Check out Glosso Angus. That's GLASOE Angus.com. Hey folks, also make sure you check out Plains Window Cleaning, interior and exterior window cleaning on residential and commercial buildings throughout North Dakota. Call Jacob today at 701-609-0405. Again, that's Jacob Broughton at Plains Window Cleaning. Appreciate all those folks. This was a fun one. Let's get it on with the champion of champions and somebody you need to know. That's Dean Winczewski. Coach, thanks for taking some time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
How's everything been going, practice-wise?
Good. We've had 2 really good days. We've kind of taken advantage of having this little break here with the cold weather to kind of get some things cleaned up. And we watched a little film yesterday and looked at some of the things we weren't doing. So we're specifically trying to clean up us more than anything.
I had to laugh. I was at Shields before we got on this. And the lady that was checking me out, she's like, "You look familiar from somewhere." I'm like, "Oh, I do podcasts, work for PSP." She's like, "That's where I saw you. I watched the Dean Winczewski one."
God.
I'm like, yes. And she's like, last year at the WDA, one of the greatest things happened ever. I'm like, "What's that?" She goes, "Dean went to call timeout. He was chewing gum. The gum fell out of his mouth, picked it up and put it back in his mouth." I'm like, "That's why I love Dean.
Yeah,
that's my guy."
Yeah, I have very little shame when it comes to a lot of things. So that's not the first time nor the last, I wouldn't imagine.
No, I love it. You got to stay that way. And my second question was, I rode down on the bus to Dickinson with you guys. On the ride back, how mad at me and Coach Pearson were you about us sitting up talking the whole way back till about midnight about aliens while you were trying to sleep with me?
Didn't even notice, to be honest with you. It's fine. You get on as many bus trips as I have, you kind of are able to block things out. And I was just thinking about things we didn't do or how things could have been different, and just kind of you zone out a little bit. So yeah, you two were just fine. I'm just glad you guys didn't get into a fight like you did almost up in Divide County a couple years ago. So
yeah, that was one for the books. Well, let's get into it here. This year's WDA, when this comes out, it'll be right before that. Interesting because we've got a lot of evenly matched teams. This tournament's always rough, always tough on coaches, players, but this year it seems different. A lot of the people are very even. What's your thoughts on this year's WDA tournament?
Yeah, it's a meat grinder. It really is. You go in and as a coach, you get tired of hearing, "Oh, it's so much fun," and everybody's talking about it. So it's not fun. When it's fun is Saturday if you've already qualified, or Saturday after you've qualified. That's when it's fun. I mean, other than that, it's okay. You win a game. So, okay, you get a little time Thursday to relax, and then you're immediately thinking about, okay, who do we play? How are we going to find success? What do we have to do? And you're putting scenarios together as to how you're going to deal with things. Like, what is this team going to do to us? What have they done in the past? How are they going to try and guard our kids? And then, okay, how do we take them away? And so it's 3 nights of very little sleep. And a lot of tension, and like I said, for the people that are there that aren't attached to a team, yeah, I can see where it would be fun. But yeah, people all the time, "Oh, it's fun." You just shake your head and you be polite, and you're like, "Oh yeah, it's awesome." But it's like I said, Saturday, you're either super happy and it's fun, or you're absolutely crushed and you're looking for answers. So.
Well, it's been a good year because you've got a lot of seniors, very senior-led team. This is also, Eric, your son's last year playing for you. How has this season been for you too? And it's kind of got to be a little, I don't know if emotional is the right word, but kind of sad. It's the coming to an end of Eric's career at Minot High.
No, it's been good. I think he's had a wonderful year. He's
I agree.
18 and 5, and he had a triple-double, and he's shooting the ball well, and he's he's distributed it, and he takes pride in his defense. And I think he's a kid that makes a huge difference for us in a lot of areas. The year's gone well. We've had a tremendous senior group, that are very unselfish. Kids that still have a lot to learn as far as what they have in them, as far as effort and capabilities. And, we're starting to see what that maximum is. And that's what we have to have here the last few weeks is, guys understanding that you don't get a playoff. You take one playoff and all of a sudden it's a 1-point game, and it doesn't matter if it's early or if it's late. You got to play every play like it's the last play of the game. And, I've been really happy. Eric and I, it's been good. I mean, we've had our times where we've been frustrated with each other, but I'm sure it's been that way for me and all the players, and that's it's just a little different dynamic with father and son.
I'm a Shell guy. I love Peyton Shell. One of the better players I've seen come from Minot. You've had a lot of them. Tell a little bit about Peyton Shell.
Peyton's had a tremendous year, and he's done a little bit of everything. We've posted him at times. He's shot the ball extremely well. He's become a very good defender. He rebounds. He's really versatile. He's really a unique kid in that he's so long. He's 6'3" or 6'4", and if he was as tall as his arms were wide, he'd be 6'9". He's got a tremendous wingspan, and he creates problems for people with that. But he's been our go-to guy. Him and Eric a lot of the year, and they kind of play off each other very well. And you can tell games when Peyton's been in foul trouble or Eric's been in foul trouble. We have a tendency to kind of get out of sorts a little bit. Those two are so essential. But Peyton's had a tremendous year for us, and what's scary. And hopefully, when he makes his decision for college, whenever that might be, somebody's going to get a player who's only got upside. He's only going to get better, especially as he fills out and gets stronger, because he's still physically a very young man. Like, he's got a lot of development that he has, and so he's had a great year. Peyton's only grown tremendously throughout his entire high school career, but the jump he's made from junior to senior has been amazing.
How awesome would it be if Shell went to Dickinson where Eric went? The 1-2 combo. I mean, come on, Shell, you got to go to DSU.
Well, it would be great, because for me, and this is just me, selfishly, I get to watch him a lot.
Right.
I'd get to see him, and he's such a great kid, and him and I have developed a very good relationship. But he's going to make a decision that's going to be best for him. And it would be great for him to go there. But a lot of it's going to come down to where he's most comfortable. And going through this process with Eric in the summer and then into the fall when he made his decision, as soon as he went to Dickinson and he sat down with Coach Selvig and he knew, like, if my wife would have been with, I could almost guarantee that he would have probably said, I want to go here, but he wanted to come home and talk to his mom and make sure that it was cool. And he knew. Hey
folks, hope you are enjoying this episode, but support for Swim Lessons, the podcast, comes from Brendan Weber, your Edward Jones financial advisor at 1600 2nd Avenue Southeast, Minot, North Dakota. For more information, visit edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
He knew. He in fact turned down a visit from Concordia. He might have had an offer come from them too, and it was just one of those things that as soon as we left, he was so comfortable in being around the guys, it's been a tremendous weight off his shoulders. I think has been helped him relax and go and play. And then I see the sweatshirts here already match his color scheme, so that'll be good for him.
I'm a DSU guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And being down there for 9 years, and the thing that he found is when we were down in Dickinson for that game last week, he had so many people come up to him and say, hey, we're happy to have you here. We're going to love watching you. He was really impressed. And I was too, because, it's beyond, just that game that night. And I got to talk to Coach Stanton, and I said, God, it's going to be hard to send a check down here for my son to go to school. And he laughed and he goes, oh, we'll take it. It'll be great. And so it's a great school. It's a great opportunity and a good community. So we couldn't have been happier for him.
How was the recruiting process? Because I'm sure, you've been with Eric for so long, whether it's, junior high basketball, travel team, then up to the varsity level. Now you're like, okay, I've got this kid that I've been working with my whole life. I want him to go to a great situation with a great coach, and Coach Selvig knows what's going on. But how was the recruiting process with him?
It was. I didn't have a lot to do with it. He would just let me know, hey, I got a call from this guy, and it was weird. His first offer, kind of, was from Jamestown when Danny Neville was there. And then, so like he's talking to Coach Neville all the time, and he had him down on a visit, and he goes, hey, as soon as we know if we're going to be D2 or NAIA, we'll make you an official offer. And so Eric's all excited, and then Coach Neville left.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so like he's like, well, what happens now? And I said, well, probably nothing. And then he was fortunate to get offers from Dakota State and Minot State. And like I said, he had a chance. I think Concordia would have. Coach Borman was awesome to work with him. And then he got his offer from Dickinson. And, for me, I didn't have a lot to do with it. He did most of the contacts. He asked me about coaches. And the best thing about the whole thing was between Coach Ty and Coach Merkin and Coach Selvig and Coach Borman, they're tremendous coaches, all four of them, but they're really good people. Like, I've gotten to know them with kids they've recruited, and I've known Tyler when he was coaching at Moorhead. He did a great job, and Coach Ty when he was at Mayville. And I'm so old, I coached against Selvig when he was in high school.
Really? I suppose.
He came over with Glendive, and they played us in Dickinson. And
how did that go?
we ended up beating on. That was the year we won a state title with Tate Kick and those guys. And
how was Selvig in high school?
He was good. He was a perimeter kid. We played him at 7 feet, and then the next night we played Quali at 7 feet from Williston.
Oh,
so
my.
yeah, we were not very big. I mean, we weren't tiny, but we weren't near as big as that. But Selvig was a tremendous player, shooter, and it was awesome to kind of get, to see all of it and to see him go through it. And, he made a very tough decision. Like, we would have been happy for him wherever. And we said, hey, if you go to Minot, you can live here and whatever. And he just, he felt really comfortable, and he loves the situation down there. I think he feels like he's going to have a chance to play for 4 years, which was the biggest, when it came down to it. He feels like he's going to have that opportunity down there. Now he just has to prove that he deserves to be out there.
Well, how about Minot State and Merkin? I mean, having an all-time year. And then SIC is
great.
tough.
Yeah, it is. That league is tremendous. And Matt's done it. I love going to his practice. Matt's a tremendous coach.
Best.
And he works so hard. And yeah, people are like, oh, that league ain't easy.
It's tough.
Yeah, that's not that far of a step down from the low majors in the big time. I mean, that's good. I mean, they got the national champions in there. I mean, you can go through those coaches, and there aren't many coaches in the country at the D2 level better than those guys. And probably, honestly, many of them will have a chance at some point to work their way up if they wanted to into the Division I level. They're just tremendous coaches, and Matt's one of them. So we felt very fortunate to have that. But like I said, we're happy for him.
Yeah, and shout out Jeremy Brandt. He's there too. I mean, could you imagine? Let's just a hypothetical here for you, Coach. Okay, say you get a chance to coach at Dickinson State. You're 3 wins away from 500, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go coach at Dickinson rather than get that 500 win. That's what Brandt did.
Yeah.
At Beulah.
Yep. Yeah,
and he didn't care.
No, and his biggest thing was getting an opportunity to move closer to family.
Yeah.
Her family's and he's from Newburgh, she's from Bottineau, and then he got a chance to work with Trey, and it worked out great that he got a job in our district. And Jeremy's a great guy. Jeremy's a tremendous coach, and has always done a good job. And actually, him and I are both old. He was a senior when I was a freshman at Minot State, so we've known each other since college. So
you guys were teammates.
Yep. Well, kind of. I sat on the bench. He played, so.
What was that like?
That's cool. It was our team that year was as good a team as we had at Minot State. Bart Manson was All-American at point. He was a junior.
Bart was there?
Yep. And then we had a bunch of guys around him, and Jeremy could shoot it, but we had some size, and we were having a really good year. And then about the last 4 or 5 games, we kind of fell apart. But it was a good team. It was a fun year. And then the next year we got to go to the national tournament with Bart, and we were just like the Pistons used to say, Jordan and the Jordanaires. It was Bart and then the rest of us clowns. But yeah, it was fun. It was a tremendous opportunity to play at Minot State. And I just, when you talk about that, I didn't want Eric to feel any pressure that he had to go there.
Right.
I mean, he can go wherever he wants. He's made his own mark here in Minot. Right now he's tied for 5th in all-time scoring, and he's made his own mark. And there's people that say, and you get tired of hearing it, but it's a coach's kid. No, he'd be doing this regardless who was coaching.
Yeah, no, and that's why you're a good dad too, just letting him figure it out. Yep. Let's talk a little bit about the girls from Minot High. You've watched them play a lot. Lily Bell, fantastic, 2000. Had some injuries. I was just talking to Coach Schwartz yesterday.
Yep.
What do you think of those girls team from Minot?
They are they're playing really well. They're getting a ton out of Kinley Barch right now. She's shooting amazingly, and AJ Rude is playing really well. She was really good the other night. I was really impressed with her. The D-Shaw girls playing better. I think they're going to be scarier once Eve kind of figures out what her role is going to be a little bit more, because she fed so much off of both Lily and Maggie that she's kind of figuring out where she is right now. Like, she used to just be able to stand there, and she's so athletic and so long that I think she just has to get comfortable with doing maybe a little more in using her skill set and letting that get showcased. I think she's a really good player. So they're still going to be a problem for people. I mean, you put Lily, but the thing that's been impressive is the last 2 weeks, especially how other people have started to fill and get more comfortable. And like I said, Kinley's been phenomenal the last 2 weeks shooting it. So
Yeah, 1,000%. Okay, so just a little for everybody listening. Dickinson High beat you twice. Once here, I was at the second one. Phenomenal. They're back to back. Some other kind of tough losses that you're not used to. Do you think, and this is just a big point, but do you think it's about peaking at the right time and we can kind of throw that out? We want to be in one of the top seeds, but that other stuff doesn't really matter. We just want to get down and play the tournament.
No, the biggest thing is you've got to put together 3 good days.
Yeah.
And you got to find 2 wins. I've been very lucky. We've gone in as the 1 seed and won the West Region. We've gone as the 1 seed and left as the 3. We've gone in as the 6 and come out as the 4. It doesn't matter. You got to find a way to win 2 games, because once you do that, the state tournament is a completely different animal.
What do you mean?
You go there and literally anything can happen. Like we went in, we were 8-11 in the regular season. We went and won 2 games, and we beat the number 1 team out of the East in the first round of the state. We're playing in the state tournament, and if we win the semifinal, we get to 500. We were not a good team. We were 4-9 at one point. We were scuffling, and we just kind of caught it. Whatever it was, we just kind of found it. And we rode Ryan Bogner, if anyone ever hears this, and he just kind of carried us. And we hit a shot at the buzzer to win the first round. And literally we lose by 8 or 9 to North, who was considerably better than we were. But you gotta, once you get there, weird things happen. You gotta find a way to get to the state tournament. And that's what's tough about the West Region and why it's the finality of it. Like in 2018, we felt we could have had a 4-peat. We had a team that was good enough. And we go to the tournament, and we lose on a last-second 3 when they're trying to intentionally foul us at the end of a game. Kate Amundsen hits a 3 for Century. We play the next day. We turn over in inbounds with the ball up 1, and we lose to man down by 1. And we had a great year. Like we had size. We had tremendous shooters. We were a really good team. But like I said, the finality of it, that game's over and you're done, and you don't get that opportunity to go and play anymore, and you're just. But that team, the way we shot it and the size we had and the way we guarded, I honestly believe that if we would have gotten there, we would have had a shot to win a 4th. But you don't get that chance. The state tournament's completely different. The West Region is so. Because anybody can beat anybody.
Right.
I mean, and you can say 1 through 6 and 7 and 8, whatever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I've been the 7 and we beat the 2. We've been a 3 and gotten beaten by the 6. It doesn't matter. That tournament, because everybody has played each other, there's absolutely no surprises. It's physical. The kids compete so hard. I think the coaching in our league is tremendous, and you don't get a break, because as soon as you're done with that game, you're into the next one, and you're battling like heck to make a state tournament, and that's a lot of times that's what you view success of the season by is, okay, how did we do this one weekend? And like I said, once you get to state, you kind of throw everything out and you say, okay, it's just Thursday. We play this one, then we see what happens. And yeah, well, I've been fortunate enough to, like I said, to have been on the right side of winning games at state, but it's the West Region's harder. It's so hard. It is.
Where do you rank this AA senior class? It's got to be up there.
It's a good one.
It's very good.
It really is. I mean, you can look at 2 years ago. That was a really good senior class with Derek Doucette and Erickson and Doppler. And I mean, there were kids all over. But every year there are kids that grow into it. Like it's a couple of years ago it was, well, Eric's got a chance, and Kempel's kind of developing, and Andre had grown as a sophomore and into his junior year, and
Parker Falcon. And
the Newman kid has exploded, and the Widener. I mean, these kids, it's I was thinking about it today. I mean, there are 8 kids in this league who probably that are seniors, maybe 9, who maybe more that could play college basketball. I mean, it's we're fortunate to have 2 and maybe 3, depending on how Fisher and Grayson go, and then I mean it's hard. It's and that's the thing. Seniors step up, and we've been fortunate to have it in games where ours have. And if you look at Dickinson, it was Widener both times that we didn't do a good job on, or he got loose and hit some shots, and that's why they're seniors. They go and make plays. So
yeah, I mean, I can't agree more. I think, but one of the X factors, and I talked to a bunch of coaches on Sunday about this and asked the same question, some X factor wise. One of the X factors for you guys in Minot High is Fisher. I mean, he can
absolutely.
jump out of the gym.
Yep. Phenomenal
athlete, can shoot the basketball. And it's kind of like, okay, if he can play, Minot is going to be very tough to beat.
Yeah, I agree, and we've actually been obviously we like to see Peyton and Eric, and they've had games when they've had 50 plus between them, and when they do, we're usually pretty good. But when we end up with 4 guys or more in double figures, I think we are extremely difficult to beat. I mean, because that means Fisher's creating. That takes pressure off Eric and Peyton, and they don't have to be forcing anything. And that means that Grayson's finding either open perimeter shots or is getting post touches and finding his way down there. And Landon's getting on the glass. And it's just, we're so much better when it isn't, you're having to rely on people. And it takes pressure off those guys. And it makes it so much harder to guard, because what teams will try to do is they're going to say, okay, we're just going to take Shell out. We're going to try and chase him or try and do this. Well, okay, if you do that, well, now you've got to contend with playing 4-on-4. That means there's more spacing on the floor, and that opens things up for Eric and Fisher. And okay, then if you're going to run help, and then okay, now you're leaving Grayson open, or maybe a cut, or Landon getting a second chance. And so, I think when we're at our best, like I said, and I look at early before Fisher got hurt, I look at a game like Davies where, Eric and Peyton each had 20 plus, but Fisher had 13 and Grayson had 15, and we want that balance. I think that creates such a harder team for people to guard.
What can we expect defensively from the Magicians during the WDA?
Well, we've got to play harder. I think the biggest thing we saw in film the other day is we've still got a lot of growth to go as far as effort, and I think the old saying is film doesn't lie. Well, they saw it. And I think we're going to see an uptick defensively in our effort. That's one of the things we've hung our hat on, is effort and defense. And I've been frustrated and trying to come up with plans as to how we're going to guard people, and we're giving up too many points. I mean, we gave up 80 to Dickinson twice, and it's nothing against Dickinson. Just to me, giving up 80 in a game is like a sin, and I feel like I should go to confession afterwards. And you just, we've scored enough points in all 3 games to win all the games we've lost. And to me, it comes down to if you don't guard, you're not getting out of the tournament anyway. So, it's got to be us digging our heels in and playing every possession like it is the most important possession of the season. And if we do that, we're gonna have a lot more positives than negatives take place.
Our mutual friend and a family member of mine, Brian Hornecker, rumors going around that he's going to retire. He might stick around. You just don't know about him. He's been retired from teaching for a while. He obviously loves the game. And people say this all the time, and it's kind of cliche, but it's very true. When you're building a good program, almost number one is have a great assistant.
Absolutely.
And you've been having Brian for a long time. What has he meant for the Magician program?
He's kind of the yin to my yang. Like I'm probably at times way too intense, and he's the balance point of that. Like and we've developed a really good relationship as far as he does his things for us. Like he subs.
Yeah.
I haven't subbed in many years. And, I'll make suggestions, and he said it last year. I'll say, can we get this kid out? And he'll just not pay attention. Like he just goes, I know that's you just complaining to complain, which is more or less what it is.
Practice from Janet.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm also used to nobody listening at my house too, so it's might as well be around there. But the reality is it makes it easy. And you know, the one thing that when we were watching film yesterday is he goes, I'm gonna be bad cop, because that's kind of my role, is to be the guy that's constantly correcting and trying to fix and do this, and he stepped up, and I think the kids finally realized that, okay, Winczewski's not crazy. Like, this is actually what's going on, and it's not good enough. And then when we sat down and watched it, I think it opened a lot of eyes to the things that we weren't doing the way we needed to. So Brian's tremendous. I know at the end of last year, he said, I think he was going to go one more. You know, there's a lot of things that change over the course of a year.
1,000%.
And you know, I know my shelf life as a coach is what it is, and who knows, you know, there could be, it could be till I retire, it could be till, you know, Alex is done. I have no idea. Yeah, and you know, I kind of sit down at the end and see how I feel, and see what opportunities there are out there every year. And you know, it's you get to be my age, and I'm going to have next year a junior in college who I'm going to want to watch throw the shot put and the disc and the weight and the hammer and all the things he does at Valley City. I'm going to have a freshman at Dickinson State who I'm going to want to watch as much as I can. And then I'm going to have a sophomore at Minot who is going to have an opportunity to play a lot of basketball the next 3 years. So, you know, you know, it's hard, because what I get to see of Andrew is, okay, I get to watch him a little bit in the spring. We'll go to a couple meets, and it's awesome. But in the same way, I don't get to see all of it, and that's hard. And you know, and then when Eric goes away, you know, it's since he was a second grader, it's been 10 years and of me watching basically almost everything he's done, and it's
gotta be tough.
It is. It's hard as a parent, and you know, you don't want to miss anything. And the thing that people don't realize is how much families sacrifice for people like me to be able to do what we do. I mean, They always say coaches' wives. My wife has given up so much to chase me around and to chase the kids around. But, you know, the kids, you know, I think I saw one of Alex's junior high basketball games last year as an 8th grader, you know, and I don't get to watch his entire games as sophomore and JV because I'm... excuse me, because I'm prepping for varsity, or I'm going to get downstairs in the locker room and whatever else. And you just kind of get to that point that you don't want to miss everything. And you know, those are things that weigh into decisions. And, you know, like you talk about Brian, I know he's going to want to be around his grandkids, and God bless him that he wants to be. It's awesome. We're very fortunate that he decided to coach for the last couple of years that he's been done teaching. And, you know, it's everything changes in that way. And, you know, we'll like I said, when the season ends, we'll sit down and we'll evaluate where everything is, and we'll go from there.
Well, I would suck if you retired, because I love watching you coach.
Oh,
I mean, I do. I love it. And I would say this to anybody, but it means a lot to come to the gym. But if you do retire, there's a seat right here, buddy, at PSP. At PSP, me and you calling some games.
Yeah,
that would be the best.
Like I said, there's a lot of things that go into it, and I have to do what's best for my family, and that's the thing that when I finally make a decision, whether it's, like I said, when Alex is done, or whether it's when I retire, it's going to be based off what's best for my family. Because for so long, for 25 years of coaching, it's always, this is going to sound really selfish, but it's been about what's best for Dean. Okay, we coached in Dickinson for 9 years, 8 as the head coach, and then this job in Minot opened up, and then it was 17 years here. And you just, you know, at some point, I got to put someone else, you know, first. And it, like I said, it may be 4 years from now, it may be 3 years from, I don't know. It's your shelf life as a coach. You get to that point, and, you know, and maybe I just say, yeah, that's fine. I'll go till I'm, you know, they throw me in a box, and that'll be the end of it. But, you know, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of things that'll play into it, and it'll be a decision that my wife and I and my family will make when it comes time.
Do you watch many games back on PSP?
Oh yeah. We watch quite a few. So
what do you think of, because I didn't know this, but not every state obviously doesn't have a PSP.
Yep.
Like how as a coach, you guys talk to a lot of other coaches. I mean, PSP, this has got to be a big thing for all the coaches, free film, and obviously you got somebody to be there, but it's got to be help to see it from a different angle on PSP Network.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. We're very blessed that for the last 9 years, we've had huddle, like we all have our huddle cameras set up. So we've got our film exchange and everything else. But it's nice because it's on YouTube. Everybody has the smart TVs now that we can just quick, I got to watch that on my computer for the most part, but we can just quick flip it on and, we can have a computer. I know early in the year, we didn't play like the second Saturday because we did because we played Davies over the break. I had 4 games going on. I had my phone, 2 computers, and the TV, and just watching games and checking stuff out. And it's such a nice thing to be able to hear it and to get the perspective on it and to hear guys talk about it. It's interesting. PSP Nick has done an unbelievable thing for high school athletics, and it's brought the game to so many more people and given these kids recognition from outside of just like a home community. They get to see, and again, it's not just Class A kids. It's evolved into really everything, and it's been a great thing, and so we're awful lucky. I know, and this is going to sound horrible, that on cold nights we get fewer fans,
right?
Because they know they can flip it on. That if you want to talk about a drawback, but you're splitting hairs and you're nitpicking when you say that, but in reality it's been a great thing. So
how has this transition with Minot North coming to the picture played a part in your program?
It's actually we had 5 kids who went up there, and they're good kids. They're good people. It's as a coach you're frustrated because you lose kids, but it's been better because it's given other kids opportunities. Caden Helm was playing last year. If he's at Minot High, he probably continues to play for us. Well, that takes Mason or Kale maybe out, or Jalen, or however it changes. Maybe we don't keep as many kids. You don't know. I in the grand scheme of it, their hope was to give more kids opportunities, which is what's going to happen. And I'm all for that. I mean, we have to do that as you have to do that as a school district. You have to make sure that you're maximizing the opportunities for kids. For Minot, this was way, way overdue as far as creating creating more opportunities for kids to get on the floor, be in the band, be on the court, be on the field, whatever it might be. And it's only gonna get better the more that they open up more sports, because it sounds like hockey's splitting next year, and as we do that, you're gonna see more opportunities for kids. The biggest challenge is going to be initially these first few years to get kids to understand that, okay, it's different now. There's more chances, and to be competitive, here's what you have to do, and you got to just get that buy-in with kids, and that's why we've been successful, is we've had a lot of kids who have put a lot of time in.
Yeah, great point. Very good point. Okay, Coach, I've asked every coach this on Champion Week here in Swim Lessons, but take me into your mind. You're at the Civic Center, opening game. What's going to be your message in the locker room right before you lead the kids out onto the floor?
Well, you got to win every play. That's your goal. And a play isn't a possession. A play might be a denial. A play might be a box out. A play might be a contested shot. You want to win every play, and if you stack those up, you want your pile to be higher than your opponent's. If you do that, you're going to be successful. And you can't just say, okay, we got to win this one possession. Well, you win that possession by making plays throughout it. If you don't guard the ball, you're not going to win the possession. If you're not going to be in help side, you're not going to win that possession. If a shot goes up and you don't box, you're not going to win that possession. If you don't contest that shot. So you have to worry about winning every single play that possession has, and then you got to flush it immediately. And then you got to win the next one on offense, and the next best play might be a ball reverse. It might be a post touch. It might be a hard cut. Whatever you have to win the one play that you have right there, and understand how important that play is, because that could turn a possession. You get a denial, all of a sudden maybe it's a tip pass, maybe it's a poor pass, maybe it's a turnover, maybe it speeds them up and forces them into a shot they don't want. And you can't take anything for granted. You can't expect someone else to do it. If you have a chance to make that play, you have to. And that's got to be our message from really starting, yesterday until we get to the tournament. Doesn't matter if you're the 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're locked in probably is probably no lower than a 4 or 5 right now. We win one game, I think we're of 2 or 3. It's there's a lot of things that can happen, but you've got to worry about what's in front of you on that plane. You can't get ahead of yourself and say, okay, if this happens, then this, okay, and then we'll run this. If we see, no, you got to, okay, this is what's happening right now. Here's my feet. This is where I am. This is what I have to control. And I think too often people worry about stuff that doesn't matter at that point. And for us, it's literally, okay, if they have the ball first, we got to get someone on the ball. We got to get people in position, and then you got to win that play. And we'll worry about everything else after that.
Beautiful answer. Okay, you've answered one of these before. You were on here last year with Swim Lessons podcast about overcoming tough times. Leave us with something that you apply to your life when the chips aren't falling your way and your back's against the wall.
The reality is we don't know how tough we are until we're forced to face it. And everybody talks about inner toughness and how tough people are and how they are able to face things and overcome them. You don't know. You have to believe how absolutely tough you can be when you put your mind to it. And you can accomplish anything if you just don't ever quit. Yeah. And you look at the most successful people that have been on this planet, they have literally never stopped doing what they do. They just keep trying to find another or a better way to be able to accomplish whatever it is. And when it comes down to it, if the only way you'll lose is if you quit. And you got to have that mentality that it ain't over. And to steal a stupid Rocky quote, until you hear the bell. I didn't hear no bell.
Let's go.
And that's a South Park thing too from so long ago. So, but literally it is. It's got to be. Until they tell you you're done, you're not. Unless you lay down and you throw your chips in and you quit. But you just got to keep battling because there's always something better that's going to be there. And I can tell you from all the stuff that we've gone through in our family and everything turns out the best for people who make the best out of the way things turn out. Mm-hmm. And you just got to deal with it and move on.
I love it. All right. Check out Minot High. Coach Pearson's always posting some really unique stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Coach Pearson, my guy. Almost got in a fist fight with him on the basketball court.
That was funny. We were actually talking about that before we got on the bus. We had to make sure you two weren't sitting by each other so that no one threw anything at each other.
Well, immediately after that game, I knew Brian. I'm like, I screwed up. I was talking to Pearson pretty soon, and he got teed up, so he got the brunt of it. But make sure you check out Minot High. Coach, you're the man. I wish everybody got a chance to sit down with you and talk with you because I feel like everybody would love you, and they only get to see you on the court. And I mean that. You're fantastic, fantastic human being. I love you. I wish you the best. Good luck and go Magicians here in the WDA.
All right. Thanks, Dallas.
That's a wrap. Dean Winczewski.